From theory to practical, you will understand each and everything about open source in this video. How to make pull request, how to choose the right organization, project. I will explain everything in detail so that you can kickstart your open source journey. Hello everyone and welcome to Scalar's YouTube channel. I am Soumya, a software engineer at Red Hat and an educator. Before we deep dive into the video, make sure you check out our free masterclasses by industry leading experts. Link is in the description. There are merely 3 steps when we talk about open source, especially this program, Google Summer of Code. If you want to participate in this program, merely 3 things are very important. But before that, let me give you a quick brief of what exactly open source is. So from opensource.com, the term open source refers to something people can modify and share because its design is publicly accessible. So you would have used many open source software in your day-to-day life as well, like VLCs, there are Mozilla Firefoxes, there are Fedora, the operating system. Plenty of projects, plenty of products are there which are open source. What does that mean? Let's say for an example, you are a web developer, you know how to develop a website, and you are an active user of the web browser Mozilla Firefox. One day, let's say you encountered a bug on the web browser. So what you can do is you can search on the internet GitHub repository of Mozilla Firefox. You can go on that particular repository and you can check out your complete code base, and if you know how to develop website or how to write code in that particular language in which already Mozilla Firefox is written, you can start contributing to it as well. I know it might sound a bit difficult right now, but by the end of this tutorial I'm pretty much sure that everything will be crisp and clear in your mind. So these are some of the open source project example like Mozilla Firefox, Quarkus, OpenCV, Fedora, Linux Foundation, etc. So I'm currently contributing to Quarkus as well, and contributing to the big open source project might be a bit difficult in the very beginning, but once you get used to it, it will become easy. And I'm here to help you out in figuring how to exactly make your first pull request, how to get started with it. And for GSoC specifically, I'll help you in understanding how you can choose the right organization or project. So this is very common doubt, like why, where and how to contribute to open source. So let me first tell you who is this for. Open source is for everyone. Anyone, even if you are in a school, you are in university, you are a working professional. Trust me, anyone can contribute to open source project. Your age, gender, your country, your location, nothing matters. Your enthusiasm, your curiosity to contribute to open source projects is the only thing that matters. And next, why should you contribute to open source project? So these are the main pointers. Like obviously you will get the opportunity to contribute to open source project where already so many developers, so many principal software engineers, senior engineers from different organizations are contributing, right? Let's say if you decide to contribute to any open source project of Facebook, so you will get the opportunity to interact with the industry experts, right? So you will have a great learning curve there. You will get the opportunity to practice your skill. Like when I was learning app development, I already knew Java. I had to shift to Kotlin. I started picking some of the projects, some of the open source projects which were written in Kotlin, so that I can get some community motivation, involvement, and that encouraged me a lot for this swift transition as well. And it will indeed help you build a strong portfolio if you will write that, okay, that button is coded by you, which millions of people are using. That will indeed create a huge impact, right? That will add weightage to your resume. And obviously it is a good chance, good time to give back to the community. We use so many things for free, so now is the opportunity kind of to give back to the community as well. If you have the knowledge, go ahead and show it to the world. Write code which can be used by more and more people, and via open source you can earn as well. There are so many programs out there in which you can participate, and one of those programs is GSoC, Google Summer of Code. So I remember when I was in university, I mentored few of these students who were participants of Google Code-in. It was fun. I mean, GCI, GSoC, the experiences were literally amazing. I mean, even if you are mentor in those programs, you get to learn so much. I mean, people will ask you such questions, such things which you yourself wouldn't have ever thought of. So it's always fun to participate in such competitions. The step number 1 is how to choose the right organization and project, right? So for that, let's get into the laptop, and I will help you understand from where and how you can choose the right organization. Okay, so let's open a new window, and here like your goal is to participate in GSoC, right? So if you write GSoC organization for the past years, right, like next coming would be in 2024. For 2023 already a list of organization has been published by the organization, right? So if you go on Summer of Code Program Organizations, this page, so here you can see the list of organizations which were there in 2022. It's loading for me. Might be the Wi-Fi is slow. Okay, so this is the page, the GSoC page. So you can see the interface is quite simple and easy to understand, right? So here plenty of options are given to you. Like if you want to filter out the organization which are of the domain, maybe web development, or which are of operating system, I mean so many filters are given to you. So if you click on any of these filter, you will get list of organization of that category. Let's say I am not liking any of these filter, I want some organization, I want to choose some organization of my choice. Let's say I am very much into Kotlin. So if I write here Kotlin and if I click on the search icon, so you can see a list of organization here. So I was mentor with this organization as well, MIFO's initiative. So when I started, so at that time, apart from GitHub, many of the organizations were contributing, I mean their projects were on GitLab, Bitbucket, etc. as well. So these are also very much similar to GitHub. If you know how to use GitHub, using other like platforms will be very much easy for you, right? So for example, let's go ahead with this one. I mean you can choose now. Let's say you are into JavaScript, so instead of Kotlin you can write here JavaScript, right? You will get list of all the organization who have mentioned JavaScript as language in their like page, organization page. Yeah, so I am opening MIFO's initiative for now. You can see here they are working on Android, Java, Kotlin, Spring, Angular, etc. They have written some topics here as well, like mobile banking, cloud, etc. So do one thing, like whenever you put some filter, no, you will get list of many organization. So how to choose from? You can write down the name of few organization, and after that you can explore their projects. Go and check out what their project is about. Now let me tell you how to do that. Let's say I decided that okay, MIFO's seems a good project, and this is exactly how I choose the organization when I was exploring stuff in the open source world. So here you can see a chat option is here. If you click on this, a new tab is opening up, and Slack is the place where these people, the MIFO's organization developers, do their discussion, do their contribution, everything. So you can see here, I mean they are asking me to sign up, to log in. So once you will log in, you will see multiple channels there, like channel for different projects, different repositories, etc., right? So go ahead, join the community. Maybe they might discuss on Slack, Zulip, even I mean a few, only one actually, open source community had a channel on Telegram as well, but they closed that and moved on to other channels because obviously Telegram is not that much handy, right? So I mean they might do their discussion on any of the portals there, like Google Groups is also one of the preferred way of communicating for these open source communities or projects. Perfect. So you know that how you can choose the right organization for yourself. Like this was for 2022. I mean you can put the filter for 2023 as well. If you change the URL to 2023, these are the selected organizations for this year. So there are high chances, let's say if any organization was there in 2020, might be it will again be selected in 2021 and so on. Like MIFO's has been there since like 2018 or 19 something. Like when I was there, then also like I was a mentor with this organization, as I said. AnitaB.org is also a very beginner friendly organization, but I think in this year they were not shortlisted. So yeah, I mean This is the way you can pick your organization, you can pick the right project. Now let me quickly give you a brief if you want to, explore the repository. I know that you might be confused right now what repository is. So if we go on their contributor guidance, so here they have explained everything in detail, like if you are a beginner, then how should you get started with the project, with the repository. So I mean, a lot many bullet point, a lot many options are here. They have talked about like multiple things here, anything which might come in a beginner's mind, right? So these are some of their projects. If we click on these, like these two are mentioned here, Apache is perhaps their project only. So I'll open this one. Community app, this is OpenMF, that is the organization name, MEFO's initiative, and they have these many projects here. Let's say you want to check out any project that they have written in Java, so you can put the filter here Java, and these are the list of projects that are written in Java for this particular organization. Now it's up to you which organization you want to pick, you want to contribute to. So you can check, I mean, this project, the the green line is showing how many contributions were done here, right? And also like how many people have started, how many people have forked the project. So fork is basically if you are going to start contributing to this project, the very first thing you will do is fork the project in your profile, okay, in your profile. So awesome, I mean, this is the page, this is the organization page. You can pick up the project based on your interest. Let's say suppose I want to check out the community app only, okay, 997 people have already forked this project. So this is the issues section where you can go and you can pick an issue of your interest. You can check out labels as well, like multiple labels are provided here. They have some labels, blocker, bug list, and you might see enhancement or good first issues as well. So if you click on good first issues, you will get to see some very easy beginner level issues here, right? So a lot many labels are here. I mean, to get started with, you can choose documentation kind of issue as well. Just go ahead, read the issue. Let's say if I click on Hacktoberfest issues, so these are the issues that are labeled under Hacktoberfest. So Hacktoberfest is also a kind of event for open source enthusiasts where you get the opportunity to contribute to plenty of open source projects. Yeah, perfect. Like you can just click on the issue on which you want to contribute to, just read it, and you can tag the project admin, project maintainer, ask them that okay, you are interested in working on this issue, ask them to assign that to you. So right now no one is assigned to this, no one is assigned here to this particular issue, right? So if once you are assigned, you can start working on it, and for that particular detail, I mean how to contribute, there are 5 commands, basically 5 steps using which you can do the contribution. All those steps are clearly explained in another video on this channel only. I have created on Scalers YouTube channel. So we will put the link of that demo video as well. You can check that out. And now let me explain you a few more important things which are must for you to know if you are getting started with open source. So I am screencasting my iPad once again, and we kind of got the basic idea of how we can choose the right organization or right project, right? And now is the time that I tell you some more important stuff, like which platform to use, or what about the communities, how you can choose the right community. Because as you saw right now, I mean, if you put filter, you will get list of so many organizations. So how will you decide which one is right for you? I mean, tech stack is one thing obviously, but apart from that, there are plenty of other significant factors that you should keep in mind. Like these are the platforms where they discuss, like we saw MEFO's people, they are doing their discussion everything on Slack, right? In the same way, Zulip is there, Discord is there, Gitter, a lot many platforms are there. So example of some project, once again, these Centoya, Ceph, Wildfly, AnitaB.org, we just saw MEFO's as well, Visual Studio Code. Many of these are even Red Hat open source project as well, which you might be not knowing, but yes, Visual Studio Code is also open source. I mean, you can also go ahead and contribute to their repository, right? So these are some very significant pointer that you should take care of when you are starting the open source journey, or you are going to pick the right community or right organization. Is the project active or inactive? You can check that via GitHub only. When was the last contribution done? How many people have forked that project, right? I just demoed you how you can do that. Always check and understand how responsive and welcoming the maintainers are, because this is thumb rule of open source communities. They should be welcoming, they should invite everyone to contribute to their project, right? Are there beginner friendly issues available in that particular project or not? Because you will start your journey as a beginner only. It's important that in the beginning you have a good experience. So check for the beginner friendly label issues. Are there such easy issues for you to get started with or not? And is the project having license, code of conduct? Are the contribution guidelines well documented or not? These are very, very small things, but it matters a lot, especially if you are a beginner. So make sure you check out all these things. Now again, these are the screenshot of few of the programs. Apart from Google Summer of Code, you can check out these as well, like MLHs, there, Season of KDE, Outreachy, Codeit, plenty of them are there. If you are active in the tech community out there, you will get to know even more about such, programs, about such initiatives. Season of Docs is also there if you are enthusiastic about open source and at the same time about documentation as well. You can check out that as well. And step number 2 is start actively contributing and showing your presence in that particular organization. So once you have decided that, okay, this is the organization and this is their project in which I want to contribute to, just go ahead, start finding the right issue for yourself for which you feel that, okay, I can contribute, I can make some good pull request for this particular issue. Pick the issue, start working on it, right? Now you might be confused in the beginning, how can you contribute? I mean, what can you contribute with? So you can contribute by implementing new feature, fixing bug, you can do UI UX design, outreach, documentation, testing, you can review work of other people, give feedback. In the beginning, I mean, it's completely okay. If you are just exploring, you will spend a lot of time reading the chats, reading the discussion of other developers. That's completely okay. By reading other people's discussion as well, you grasp a lot of knowledge. I mean, I have been through this phase in the beginning. I used to feel that, okay, if I ask something, people will feel she don't have knowledge, but trust me, it's not like that. I mean, if there is something which you can Google out, that's completely okay. I mean, go and search on the internet that how to make the first pull request. I mean, there is dedicated video I have also created for the same. You can watch that as well. Don't ask such question which you can get on Google, on internet, right? Ask project a specific question, like I have an enhancement feature idea in my mind. Hey, @admin or project maintainer, can I go ahead and start working on this? You can ask about such doubts, right, which are specific to project or for which you will not get answer on the internet. Perfect. So now you have got a good understanding of all the important things. Now, obviously, if you want to get started with GSoC, the program, you have to create your GitHub account, right? It's very easy. The way you create your Twitter account, your Instagram account, in the same way, you just have to provide your email ID and basic details, and you have to create your developer profile. If you are a coder, if you are a developer, then instead of IG, Facebook, all those stuff, make sure you have your developer account, that is your developer portfolio, GitHub ready and handy. Even if you create some project on your own, like web project, app project, make it a habit that you push those projects on GitHub. And for this as well, there is a detailed dedicated video by me on this channel only. We'll put all these handy links for you. I mean, in this one, I just wanted to give you a brief of how you can choose the right organization, right project. Apart from that, the commands that we use to create pull requests, the commands that we use to push the project, everything is already on this channel, right? Awesome. And once you have created your GitHub account, the next step is you have to install Git in your machine, in your system. Just write download Git and you will get the link. The first link will be the official link. Just go on it based on which operating system you are. Just download it and yes, start working on the project, right? You are all good to go to contribute, to start contributing. And the next thing which you should keep in mind is keep attending the organization's weekly call. Let's say if you thought of, okay, I have to contribute to MIFO's organization, right? So make sure on weekends or monthly basis, they would be doing some internal calls for the developers who are contributing to the project. Make sure you attend them, stay up to date about their proposal ideas. If they are planning something about GSoC, keep an eye like what they are discussing. There would be some channels like #GSoC in their Slack channel or Zulip channel, Zulip, whatever server they have created. So if you feel they need some feature request, etc., you can create a GDoc of a proposal doc for GSoC. I will do one thing for your reference. I will also give you link of some of the GSoC proposals, the way you can create a proposal, right? So all the handy links you can get in the description. And yes, these were the 3 most important steps that you should keep in mind if you are going to start with this program. And these are, again, this is a quick summary. You have to find a problem to solve. Once you have chosen the right organization, right project, choose the problem to solve, start working on it, and submit your work. That's it. It's as simple as it sounds. You can take a screenshot of this one as well. It's a kind of workflow, how you will get started with the open source journey. Number 1, you have to fork the project, then clone it. You have to start working on the project, and then you have to add the changes, commit it, and then push it. Might be right now you would be thinking like, okay, what these commands or what these steps are, but just go ahead and watch the practical demo of open source by me on this channel. The link is, maybe we can put the link somewhere in the I section as well. You can click that as well, or in the description, definitely it will be there, right? So go ahead and watch that. That will help you understand in a much better way how we exactly do open source contribution.
Globally, I have been honored with the International Women in Open Source Academic Award as finalist. Start your open source journey with this one-stop guide. Early in my career, I started exploring and making open source contributions. In the beginning, everything was very difficult. Even those easy Git commands like git add, git init, which are so obvious now. But don't worry, I'm here to make things easy for you to understand. From exactly what is open source to how you can make most out of it, we will be discussing everything. And hey, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button, and if you have any queries, drop that down in the comment section below and we will be happy to answer them. First thing first, before getting started with open source contributions, before adding those exciting achievements in your profile, make sure you understand what exactly is open source. So if we go on the web page of the official website opensource.com, according to opensource.com, the word open source is self-explanatory. Let me give you an example. In our daily lives, we use several software, several tools which are open source. For example, the web browser Mozilla Firefox, the code editor Eclipse, and alongside that, LibreOffice, WordPress, Quarkus, OpenShift, a lot many are there. The list is really very long. We don't realize that, okay, these big products are really open source, but they are. Basically, what you can do is, you can go on GitHub, and for all these products, these softwares, you can read their code. If while using the product, let's say you are using Firefox, right? And there, let's say you're a web developer, you feel that, okay, there is some enhancement, there is some feature which as a web developer you can add. So what you will do, you will go on the GitHub page of that organization, Mozilla Firefox, and there you will see in the repository, in the project section, you will find that project, and in the issues section of that project, you can create an issue that, hey, maybe you want to solve a bug, or maybe you want to add an enhancement or feature. Just create an issue for it and tag the admins, the project maintainers. They will come, they will see the issue, and if you will express interest, then maybe they'll assign that issue to you. Then you can start working on that. You will write your code to fix that bug, or maybe add that exciting enhancement or that exciting feature in the product. And if the maintainers will approve your code, they will review it all. Once it's all done, then your pull request will be merged in the project. Wait, if you are feeling that these words are tough for you to understand, like pull request, merge, I will be explaining everything in detail in the demo that we have by the end of this session. Also, the very exciting thing about doing open source contribution is, let's say you created that issue and you worked on that. So your code will be merged in that big product, in that big software, and you can share with your friends, with everyone, that product which millions of people are already using. You can tell that, hey, that button which you see on Mozilla Firefox, that's developed by me. I wrote that code. See how exciting that sounds, really. So apart from this thing, there are a bunch of more benefits of doing open source contribution. We have just understood a basic overview of what exactly is open source. We will be obviously covering many more things around it. Now that we have a basic overview of what exactly is open source, so let's try to understand who is this for, who all can participate, who all can make open source contribution. Let me tell you, if there is not any specific open source program, then anyone can contribute to open source projects. Yes, even if you are a high school student, you are doing your graduation, your BTech, your BCA, any degree, even if you are a working professional and you have some eagerness, some curiosity to contribute to those big open source projects, you can do that. There's one beautiful thing about open source communities. You won't see any discrimination. All over the world, like from every corner of the globe, you will see people getting involved in that. In those exciting big projects, like I was part of AnitaB.org community. They have some mobile app development related projects. Many people from all over the world, from India, USA, Germany, from everywhere, you will see folks of all like variety of age group. You will see them working on the project. Some of them will be making contribution related to code. Others will be doing UI UX design stuff. So that's really very beautiful community and you will be learning a lot, many things. So I hope this point is clear that if you want to get started with open source, there is no restriction. You can do. The only thing that you need is a curiosity to contribute to those open source projects. And make sure, like this open source thing which I said, it's open for everyone, but when you participate via a specific program, let's say Google Summer of Code or MLH, they have some like open source programs under them. If you participate via those programs, so they have some eligibility criteria. Like GSoC initially only allowed university students to participate in the program. Only folks who were like in their maybe first or fourth year in their graduation, only they were allowed to make proposals for the projects of GSoC. But last year, they extended it to everyone. Now anyone, if you are in university or maybe if you are a working professional, you can participate in that program. So some programs have a specific criteria. Some have like age criteria as well. So if you want to do open source contribution via those programs, make sure you go through the eligibility criteria as well. Apart from that, if you just want to get started, just want to understand the flow of how things are done, you are free to do that. You can make open source contributions easily. There is no eligibility. You can just clone the project, fork the project first, then clone into your local machine and start coding. If you want to do something around design, you can do that as well. So I hope this point is clear to you. Who is this for? Now let's understand what are the benefits of doing open source contribution. What will you get out of this? Learning experience, earning potential, build portfolio, upskilling, networking, and giving back to the community. I will be sharing my open source journey, how I started out, what were the hindrances, the obstacle which I faced in the beginning, and you can take notes out of it so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. So after learning basics of coding, data structure, algorithm, everything, I was very excited and very keen to learn how to develop mobile application. I learned that skill. After that, I had to reuse that skill somewhere. I was very much willing to work on some real world, some big project where I can use that theoretical knowledge. So apart from doing like freelancing stuff, I was like looking to work on, some big project which millions of people are using. One of my senior advised that you can start with open source contribution. You will get an opportunity to interact with, to learn with like principal senior software engineers out there. Like before actually entering into the IT industry, you will be getting a good exposure of how things are done, how you can write clean code, how you can talk to your team members, the other software engineers, the admins, maintainers of the project. So I started exploring, I started finding where can I like get the right open source project for myself. So I learned the skill mobile app development in Java and Kotlin. So I like put those filters like Java, Kotlin on the explore section of GitHub. I got plenty of results. I got many projects. Then I was very confused to see that long list of projects. I went to the page of GSoC. I tried finding some apt project for myself. From there, I like discovered like the documentation, everything in detail of two organizations, basically AnitaB.org and Mifuz organization. They had plenty of projects written in Java and they were slowly migrating to Kotlin. That was exactly what I was interested in. So I like joined the community. I saw that okay, so many developers from all over the world, they were making contribution to those big projects. They were mainly written in Java. So I was comfortable like understanding the code. Things were clearer to me, and that was kind of making me more like interested and curious to do the open source contribution. So I like forked the project. I cloned that into my local machine. This is very challenging. Let me tell you, sometimes in the beginning, while doing the setup of the project itself, we as developer get so much scared. I mean, they are such huge, such big project which are already having thousands of lines of code written by different type of developers. And that's not very easy to understand. I mean, the entire flow of the project, which file is working in which way, it takes time. Some people give up at that initial phase only. Just don't give up there. Try to understand the code base. So make sure you go through the issues section of that particular project on GitHub. They have some labels as well. Beginner friendly label or maybe first timer issues, such kind of labels are there. You can put those filters and you will get the right set of issues to work upon for that particular project. This is such a tip which is very useful if you are looking for some problems, some issues to solve in that particular project. Also, in the starting, like when I was just starting with the open source contribution in the community, I was kind of very hesitant to ask queries. Like there are obviously some stuff which you can get the answers from the internet. You can just Google it out, right? Maybe how git add command works or such basic stuff. But if there is something specific about that particular product or that particular project, then you can certainly ask from the project maintainers, from the project admins that, hey, like what this piece of code in the project is about, or maybe if we can try to add some more features. If you have such kind of specific doubts or concerns, maybe you can put that in the wherever the community is discussing everything, maybe Slack or Zleep, anywhere, right? So these were some of the pointers basically which I feel are significant and you should take care of. Let's now talk about how you can find the right project for yourself. It's very, very important. Suppose that you are now curious to do open source contribution. You want to contribute to those exciting big projects. But if you are not able to choose the right project, then it's of no use, right? So there are 3 to 4 platforms or places from where you can find the right project for yourself. So what I used to do on GitHub itself, on the web page, there is that explore section. You can go there and you can put the right filters based on your interest. Let's say if you are into web development or machine learning or any particular domain, make sure you put those keywords there and the projects which are of that particular domain. If you, let's say, added the Python filter there, so the projects which are having that Python label, they will show up there. You can have like variety of sorting criterias. You can sort based on number of stars. the project is having, or maybe if the project is active or not. Those things you can check out before starting the contribution. Another good page, another platform where you can find the right project for yourself is the GSoC website itself. For go on the past year projects. You can again put some filters there, which tech stack you are interested in. Just put those filters there and you will get those kind of projects, the projects which you will be interested in. Now that you have some shortlisted projects, right? Some projects which are of your interest, then you can maybe start reading the documentation of that particular project, and after doing some exploration around all those projects, you can pick the right ones, those which you feel are apt for your interest, those which are having some impact as well. Try to understand how many people are using that product, what are the contribution guidelines, what's the impact that project is making, right? So these are the two main ways by which you can find the right project for yourself. Either the explore section of GitHub, or you can go on GSoC website as well and put right filters over there. If you have a specific project or product in your mind to which you want to contribute to, you can do that as well, apart from the first two ways that we talked about. Now that we have got an overview of how you can find the right project for yourself, let's talk about some of the platforms which you should know about, because in open source communities, there are some platforms on which the community discuss everything. It might be Zulip, Slack, Discord, or any such community. So when you are just starting out, let's say you got some open source community to contribute to from the GSoC website. So there you will see the IRC channel. You can go there and you can talk to other community members. There will be project maintainers, admins, everyone. You can start asking your doubts, or maybe you can just express your curiosity and give your introduction to the entire community out there. Now let's talk about some of the significant pointers which you should keep in mind when you are just starting out. First, check that the product is active. Make sure that there are contributions going on. It should be on GitHub itself, you will see that green graph. If the recent contribution is some 24 hours ago or maybe 48 hours ago, that means that okay, the project is kind of active. You can also understand this thing by just scrolling through their IRC channel. If the developers, the project maintainers are discussing things there, if everything is going and people are talking to each other about issues and all such stuff. So this is one thing which you should take care of. Another important pointer is do check that they have a contribution guideline written, because those projects which are good and which have a good community, they make sure that they have a good contribution guideline as well. Do read the documentation thoroughly. Also make sure that the project is having licenses and everything. And also when you are just starting out, when you are a beginner, it's important that the project maintainers and admins are welcoming. They are inclusive. That will make your experience easy. If let's say if the maintainers and all such people are not transparent, they are not kind of welcoming, so it will be hard for you to explain everything. Let's say if you have some doubt, you will ask that on the community channel, but if you don't get much traction from the maintainers themselves, that will somewhere not boost your confidence, right? So it's important to understand that okay, the community is welcoming and they are transparent for all type of contributions. Now let me tell you another very significant pointer. When we just start with open source contribution, many people say that only coders, only software engineers can do that. If you are good in UI, UX, or maybe testing, advocacy, then also you can be a part of those open source communities. You can contribute there in different ways, not only coding. So let's say if you are in first year of engineering, or you are just starting out and you don't know much of coding, you don't have that much good knowledge of any programming language, it's fine. You will learn on the go, right? So if you are kind of just willing to get involved with the community, go there, check the project, read the documentation. If you feel that there is something which can be added, which can be fixed in the documentations, just make a PR, make a pull request for that. So there are plenty of ways: testing, coding, dev advocacy, if you are good enough, like you have a good experience, you can be mentors as well in those open source programs, in those open source initiative as well. You can like help the newbies out there who are just starting out to get started with open source. There are a bunch of things which you can do if you are curious to do, right? Let me tell you some of the open source initiatives, some of the open source program which you can participate in. That will be really a great learning experience for you when you have a decent experience with how the open source contributions are done with the entire workflow. So first is Google Summer of Docs. Second, Google Summer of Code. Outreachy is the third program, which is very interesting. It's for like female techies out there. They can participate, they can do open source contribution. There are certain rules and regulations for each of these programs. Fourth one is MLH. They also have kind of open source track in which like they expect applications from developers out there, from developer community. They have rules and regulation. They shortlist applicants, and then like a specific period of time is there for which the selected applicants work on a specific project, like 12 weeks, 6 weeks, and they are paid as well. So most of these programs which I'm talking about, they have some reward, they have some like pay structure for developers out there. GSoC Summer of Code is another one, and if you're just starting, you can also try with Hacktober Fest. 24 pull request is another one. When you are just starting out, it might happen that you will face some roadblocker, which I also faced when I was just a beginner. Might be that there are some lack of beginner friendly issues in that particular project. What you can do is, let's say if that's a mobile app development related project, so you can just clone that particular project into your system. You can run that. If while running you face that okay, there are some bugs or maybe there are some features that you can add, you can create issues for that, right? And you can work on issues created by yourself. So that's one thing you can do. And if you feel that okay, that's a very hard project for you to do as a beginner, maybe you can try selecting another open source project of the same domain which are having like same tech stack. When you are just starting out, it might happen that you are not very much confident about the technical skills that you possess. You might feel that others are very senior and you have less knowledge, so you can't do open source contribution. It's not that way. You can contribute in other sectors as well, like documentation, testing, or maybe just mentoring the newbies or dev advocacy. If you are interested in leadership kind of roles, you can do contribute in those ways as well. Another significant aspect is time management. When we are in college, we somewhere have so many things to do that it is hard to contribute to open source projects, right? We sometimes don't find that much time to do these things. But I tried finding good time for doing all these things, and trust me, it's all worth it. It really counts. So make sure that take baby steps. It's not mandatory for you to like the whole day just sit and write code for that particular open source project. It's not mandatory. You can maybe in this starting take out 20 minutes or 30 minutes and do a small contribution. That will also matter a lot. Just try understanding everything slowly and things will fall in place. Two of the resources which might be very helpful for you are opensource.guide. That website has everything mentioned in detail, how you can make your first pull request, how you can start your open source journey. Second one is the first contributions repository. You can make your first pull request there on that project to understand how the flow works. Now that we have covered lot many things, the theory stuff of how you can do open source contribution and what are the benefits. We talked lot many things. We also covered the initiative, the open source programs that are there which might help you a lot. You can add those things in your resumes as well. That may help you in getting the right internship, in getting the job offers. Because when you give interviews and you have these things mentioned that okay, you wrote code for that open source project which is such huge, such big, so interviewers will also understand that okay, he or she has written code for such a big project, so would be having some decent knowledge of coding, right? So certainly this counts a lot. And now we will actually see how you can do open source contribution, how you can make the first pull request. So let's see that in the demo. Let's say you have to start the open source contribution to any specific project. For the demo part, to explain you the steps, that what commands, what steps are involved, I'm taking this project first contribution. The very first thing that you have to do is fork the project. And obviously, I suppose that you know what are the prerequisites for doing the open source contribution. You should have a GitHub profile. Like I have my own GitHub profile over here. In the same way, you can create yours, and you should have Git installed in your local machine. That's very important. To do that, you just have to write Git, download Git on any of the web browsers out there, and that will do the work for you. Let's say I open up a new tab and I say install or maybe download Git. So you will see download Git, like the first link that you get on the web browser. Just click on that. Based on which operating system you have, like Windows, Linux, macOS, anyone, just click on that and you will be like, they will show you the steps like how you can install Git in your local machine. Git is a version control system to keep a track of the history, right? So GitHub and Git, these are two things that you will need before doing the open source contribution. So let's now fork this project, which is step number 1. So I will just click on create fork. What will happen? A copy of this project will be created in my account. So if you notice, the initial URL was this one, github.com/first contribution, right? This is the username, the name of the organization, and then the repository. If you see the forked copy, so the username is my name, Soumya Vansingh, and then first contribution, which is the project name. Basically, forked copy is your own copy of the project. You can make any changes in there, and when you have to submit that change in the main project, you will be making a pull request, that is a PR, right? Now that you have forked the project, let's clone it. This is step number 2. Just copy this link in the, like when you will click on the code button over here, you just have to copy the link, then go in the terminal. If you are on Windows, then like let's say on desktop itself, when you will right click, you will see git bash here thing. You can just do that, and if you are on any other system, you can always follow the terminal as well, right? So on desktop itself, I will do git clone, which is the next step after forking the project, right? So what it will do is it will like clone that particular project into that directory. Now that I already am having first contributions project in the desktop directory, so it's saying that okay, this project already exists. So if we check here for explaining things again, I mean I recently gave a demo for this, that's why this project is here. To explain it all again to you all, I will be just removing this project so that things are clearer to you. So what we will do, we will git clone the project. You can see it's 100% complete now. The project is here in my desktop directory. Now another significant thing, we will cd into that project, that is first contributions project. So we have done two things. We forked the project and then we cloned it into our local machine. Why we did that? So that we can make any change to that particular project. Now let's say you got some exciting issue to work upon from the issues section. You can spend time to find that. I mean, what's the issue that you want to work upon? For now, I'm assuming that okay, I have got some issue to work upon, and I will be following those steps like how can I make my first pull request. Okay, the very first thing, never forget, whenever you have to submit your code, your work, just create a new branch. Okay, the command for that is git branch -b and the name of the branch. So for now I will say new PR. Always make sure that, let's say if the issue number is, if you click on this one, so here the issue number is 50803, right? So what you can do is you can make a branch, name branch, and then name of the issue, number of the issue, right? That will help you keeping a track of what issue you are working upon. So step number 1, you will create a branch. Here's a typo in the name of the branch. So we'll correct that, git branch -b and the name of the branch, right? Okay. Git branch b and then the name of the branch is, like, you can give any name, right? Like previously I gave new PR. Basically the command is git branch p and name of the branch. Okay, so once you have forked the project and clone that in your local machine, the next thing that you are going to do is create a new branch. For that, the command is very simple: git checkout -p and the name of the branch that you are going to create. For now, we will use a simple name, new PR. You should use a meaningful name of the branch so that it's easy for you to track everything. Let's say if the issue number is 003, then maybe you can keep the branch name branch 003 so that it's easy for you to understand on which issue you are working upon. Once you have created a new branch, what you will do is you will make the changes in the code based on what the exact issue is. For now, we have this simple project first contribution. What I will do in the contributors.md file, I'll add my name over there. This is just an example. Like you can write code, or you can make some design changes based on what the exact issue is about, right? For now, I will do a simple thing. I will just add my name over here because this is a simple issue which you can try out to just understand the flow of how actually you can do open source contribution, right? So I will just do this simple thing. I'll paste the link over here, and after that I will save these many changes. So now that these changes are saved, what you can do, you can keep a track of what changes you have made using the command git status. So you can see it's telling you that okay, contributors.md file that has been modified. So what you will do next is add these changes. You can add the changes file by file, like git add the name of the file, or if you will do git add dot, then that will add all the changes. Now if you will do git status, you will see this is green in color. That means the changes that you made, they are now integrated. Those changes, they have selected those changes in, they have accepted that, right? That has been added. So the step number 1 was forking the repository. Second, clone it in your local machine. Next is create a new branch, and after that make the changes based on what the issue is. Work on that particular branch for as long as you can take. If the issue is long, if it's bigger one, you can take a week as well, right? Some of the issues are, let's say if enhancement issue is there, that will take time. Easy ones will not take that much time. After making the changes, just add the change, git add dot. It's a very simple command. And once you have added the changes, next thing you have to do is commit these changes, and with this option M, you have to give some message. If you work in a team, then it's important that you give some meaningful messages so that it's easy for other team members to keep a track of what you are working on and what changes you made in the project. So we will say git commit -m, and I will just write maybe first commit or something like that for now, but make sure you write a meaningful message while you make the commit, right? So I'll press enter, and this one is done. Now the final step is you did git add, git commit, and you have to push all these changes on GitHub, right? And then you can make your pull request from there. So for that, the command is again very simple: git push origin and the name of the branch. The name of the branch is master, and what origin is, so basically origin is this address, the main address. After forking the project, you will get origin by default. You can check the exact address of origin as well. So if you say type git remote v, so you will get a list of all the remote URLs you are having. So you can see origin is having this URL, right? So when you will push anything to the origin, in your original repository, all the changes will be pushed. And you can add more remote URLs as well by a simple command, git remote add, and name of the remote. If you want to, let's say, add upstream URL, like the original project's URL, which is this one here, you can see the first contributions one. This is the original upstream URL, so maybe you can add this and the name of this URL will be upstream. So just paste it here. So now you can refer to this URL with this name upstream. And now when you will run this command, so you can see we have origin as well as upstream over here. For now, as what we were doing, we were pushing all the changes. So git push origin, we know what origin is. Origin is that URL, right? And master is the name of the branch. So that's it. We will just press enter and okay. Just try again. Let's see what the issue is here. Okay, so if we do git branch. Okay, so right now the branch name is like the main branch is not master exactly, it's main. And right now we are on new PR branch. Okay, so what we will do, we will say git push origin main, as simple as that. Okay. And new PR. So this is the final step that you have to do. You have to push all your changes, and you will see you can create a pull request from this URL over here, and the project maintainers, the admins of the project, they will get the notification that okay, you have made these changes, right? So I will make the I will click on create pull request. Before that, let's modify the description to make it meaningful. I'm just giving a demo right now, so I will just say demo and pull request. I will later on close this pull request because it doesn't make any sense, right? So create pull request, and that's all. I mean, this is the thing that you have to do. So basically, to summarize, what are the steps? Step number 1, you have to fork the project, the original project. Then you have to clone it into your local machine. Once you do that, after that, you have to like create a new branch. You have to add all the changes in your like whatever code you have written. You have to add all those things. Git add dot. After that, commit those changes and just push them onto the main branch, onto the branch exactly on which you are working on. That's very important. So this was all for this demo. I mean, these are just 5 to 6 steps which you have to keep in mind. The flow will be same, and if you are going to start your open source journey, make sure you keep all these pointers in mind.
In this tutorial, I'll teach you in detail how can we pick project from GSoC website and make contributions in it. Before we deep dive into the tutorial, so the very first thing is we will open the GSoC official web page. This is their official website, Google Summer of Code home. And my main goal is to go and check out the organizations which were selected in 2023. So here, this is their organization page, 2023 program, and these are the organizations. Here is the option to, view projects as well. And you can see these are the domains available. I mean, there are a lot of categories like artificial intelligence, data, end user applications, web, security, many things are here, right? So you can choose your category. I mean, in which category you are interested into. Let's say if you are very much into web domain or security or maybe data or AI, so you can click on those domains and then pick project of your interest. But as a beginner, I completely understand. I mean, when we are in university, sometimes all we know is just a programming language like Java or C++, nothing else, right? So in that case, I would like to give you an advice that in open source there are plenty of things. I mean, let's say you want to contribute to some web projects, but you are not very much sure about how some web frameworks work or all those advanced stuff, but you have decent knowledge of programming. Then there are a lot many subcategories inside a project as well. Like apart from coding, you have documentation, UI UX, or testing, research. You can help the organization by providing mentoring once you have good knowledge of the project itself, right? So there are plenty of subcategories which you can look into and you can make your contribution in that particular domain, right? So now let's click on the web domain itself. In this tutorial, I'll pick one project from web domain, and right now just pause the video and go in the comments and let me know in which domain you are into, like app dev, machine learning, data. And in the next tutorial, I'll try to pick the project from that domain which you people are more interested into. So if I scroll down here, there are plenty of projects you can see, like Submit is here, Chromium is here, Wikimedia. So as a beginner, obviously it's a bit overwhelming and confusing, like which one to pick, right? So you can do one thing. Let's say if you have heard about any of these open source project, like as application developers, as software developers, most of us know about Django, right? So this project somewhere excited me when I saw this list and Django here. So let's click on the Django project here and see what all is there in that project. So once you decide that, okay, this is the domain I want to explore and this is the project, right? So I'll teach you like how to go a step by step. Like there are plenty of information available on these websites, right? So what are the important information and what you should do next, right, in order to save time. So obviously when you are going to explore these domains, these projects, it will take some time, especially when you are unsure of which project to pick, right? So this is Django Software Foundation. It is a web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. Nice description, right? And these are the idea list. So basically if you scroll down, like the contributor from past year, Bhuvnesh Sharma was the contributor in GSoC with this project, and he worked on allow moving our models between app. Okay, so this is his project title, and maybe you can check his projects as well, his project or project of any other candidate, to get a good understanding of how projects are created in GSoC. Well, I'll share a lot many more details. So this is the project, right? And we have kind of checked a bit of idea list as well. This is the djangoproject.com, their official web page, and might be that this is also open sourced, right? Might be this is one of the GH repo, GitHub repo, and they want contributors to contribute to this web page as well. So we'll go and check, I mean, how many projects they have, this organization. But before that, let's look at this, how the website is. So obviously when you are going to contribute to any project, you should first use it as a consumer, you should use it as a user, then only you will be able to add meaningful contribution to that project. If you are using some project, maybe a website, any mobile application, as a user, then you will be at a better position to tell, like, how about if we add this new feature, or if there is a bug, let's say you are using some website and a button is not working, so you can make an issue about that the button is not working, and if you have the app knowledge, you can fix that as well, right? So Django makes it easier to build better web apps more quickly and with less code. This is their website, Meet Django. It's high level Python web framework. All the details are given here, right? Awesome. So kind of we have a basic idea of what this project is. So I also, I am more inclined towards developing mobile application. I have done a lot many web projects as well. Like I have created plenty of them. Even in 6 months of my software engineering internship as well, I was working on HTML, CSS, React, JS, all those stuff. But again, I mean, there are few things which excites you more. Like to me, it is developing mobile application, and here in this one we have to use technologies like Python, Django, web. These are given here, what technologies or topics are heavily used in these projects. Here you see these two buttons, mailing list and forum. These two are very, very important. Okay. And the contributor guidance as well is of utmost importance. I mean, if you see here, this is specifically for summer of code. I mean, the guidance, the advice that the project maintainers, the admins want to give to you will be all here. Okay. So first, let's do one thing to get started to contribute to any project. It's very important that we are connected to fellow developers or the project maintainers and admins who are already contributing to that project, right? So let's click on this mailing list or forum. This is the place where we will see many developers from all over the globe. They can be working in some company, or might be university student, school student, anyone, right? So this is their pinned message. Looking to get involved, you can start here. Apart from that, if you scroll down, there are so many questions, there are so many new topics, like someone has asked issues, suggestion requested, or people have discussed their project ideas as well here, the beginning of contributing to Django, and so much. So I will click on this one because this will take us to the right place. I mean, this message, this topic says looking to get involved, you can start here. So welcome to Django. We hope you have fun. If you're looking to get involved, the first thing to read is the contributing guide. And this is true for any project, any open source project that you are going to contribute to. So if we click on this one, contributing to Django and the contribution guideline. So see, here you can read that the work on Django itself falls into three major areas: writing code, number one, and then writing documentation, and then localizing Django. So this is also very interesting thing. Like many of the open source projects, they are purely mostly in English, right? And because some of the developers, their users might be from different part of the world, so localizing Django means, if they want to uh, make the website available in some other language, like maybe Hindi, or some like French, any language for that matter, right? So that users of that particular city, that particular country, can also use it very smoothly, right? So localizing is also one of the ways with the help of which you can contribute to that particular project. These are some advices here for the new contributor. What should be your first step, guideline, everything is here. So I hope you now have a good understanding that in any project there are subcategories, and they have specifically divided into three main categories. So if you want to get started with coding, you can click on these links, like start from writing code docs, or if you want to get started with documentation, then Django's documentation is one of its key strengths. It's informative and thorough. You can help to improve the documentation and keep it relevant. So obviously, I mean, even if you are into software engineering, one of the easiest ways, one of the simplest ways of contributing to any open source project is to getting started with your documentation. You can start fixing the documentation, or you can start writing documentation for a new feature that they would have created, right? Awesome. So now let's do one thing. I mean, here they have given a lot many steps, right? So these are some advice for the new contributor. I'm clicking on this advice for new contributor. So these are the first steps that they have mentioned here. Advice for new contributor. New contributor and not sure what to do, want to help us but just don't know how to get started. Then obviously this section is for such people. And I mean, this project is completely new for me as well. I have an open source contribution, but not too much into Django project, right? This is completely new. So the way it's new for you, it's new for me as well. This is how you have to go step by step, right? First, read the contribution guideline. You will get all the information here itself. So these are the first step. Number one, trash ticket. So what this project is doing, I mean, mostly in the GH repo, in the GitHub repo, there is one section issues. But what I feel from its first look is they are creating their issues, everything. They are tracking it at some different web page. If we click on this, so you can see here, I mean, code.django project, and this is their page where they have, the tickets thing. So if I click on updates, so you will see here a lot many issues, a lot many tickets are available here to work on. And these are some filters which you can use, right? On GitHub it's pretty much simple, but here this is their own website, so they have the UI UX as per their convenience, their interest. You can add more filters from here. Let's say if you want to see issues which are of type UI UX, maybe, right? And if you click on yes and click on update, so you will see the issues which are purely related to the designing, like UI UX. Perfect. And that's how you can go about, picking an issue and then making contribution for it. If I go back here, there are more guidance, there are more things available here. These are some guidelines for newcomer, that you should pick a subject area that you care about, that you are familiar with, or that you want to learn about. Let's say if you are interested into UI UX, then only you should pick the issues, you should check the tickets which are of that particular subcategory, right? And this is analyze tickets context and history. It is important, like when the ticket was created, if any other engineer, if any other coder is already working on that issue, these things matter a lot, so you should check all those things and start small. If you are a beginner, it's not must for you to go and pick a very difficult issue. You can start with very small ones, like I would recommend to maybe start with documentation related issue. That will help you get a thorough understanding of the complete project. You will read more of the documentation, and you will learn from it, and if you find some bug there, you can fix it, right? And if you are going to engage in a big task, make sure that your idea has support first. If you want to, let's say, add some new feature on their website, the Django website, right? So you have to first discuss that with the project maintainers, with the project admins. It's very important. And yes, be bold, leave feedback. So if you are using the product, the open source project, and you have some feedback that okay, this feature can be created here, this feature can be developed here, so yes, share your feedback with the admins, with the maintainers. It's very important for the open source maintainers, that they get good feedback and they improve based on that. And yes, on the side of caution, when marking things ready for check-in, wait for feedback and respond to feedback when you receive. These are some very important things while doing open source contribution. And the last one, that you have to be very patient, is indeed very important, because it might happen that, let's say, you have created a pull request, but the maintainer is not free to review it. So you have to keep calm. Maybe you can ping them, you can mention them in the GH pull request itself, but again, it depends on their availability as well, right? Awesome. So like we have kind of read all these contribution guidelines, right? And this is everything you need to get started. And if we go back once again, so here the mentorship category Django form is also available here. They have given some specific guidance around unit test, and for new contributors some specific guidelines and all those stuff. Here are some more useful links, like if you're totally new to open source, how you can join the community. A lot many things are there. And what I will do next is, this is the blog page. Let's click on this and see what they have here. Okay, so this is the blog page of Django project itself. Now, next thing I will do is, like, they would have given the link of GitHub repo somewhere here, but I will just type here Django project GitHub repository. Okay, GitHub repository. So this is topic Django project, and this is the organization, Django organization. So if I click on this, this is the Django project, right? This is their organization, and I think they would be having multiple projects inside the umbrella, inside the Django organization. Like djangoproject.com is here. This is the, I guess this one is their main website, the web framework for perfectionists. I mean, the tag is also same. These are some channels available here. So what we can do is, I mean, to get understanding of which project of Django organization is more active, obviously this will tell you the one which is more active. You can see the graph here. Here the update was made 13 minutes ago, here 13 hours ago. So let's do one thing. If we go here, so if we are willing to make contribution, we have found the right project. Let's say, okay, this is the project that you wanted to contribute to, and you are a web developer, you are interested into web, and these things like Python, Django, framework, you have a decent knowledge of all of this, I'm assuming, okay? So what you have to do, number one step is, now enough of reading contribution guidelines. We have checked your web page, we have checked their communication channel, the forum, everything, and now is the time we have to start contributing. Okay, so mostly here is one more section, issues section in open source projects, but in the Django project this is not available here, because they have mentioned, they have like all the issues, everything here in the Django project, code.django project, and then they have query section. Okay, so view tickets is the page where you will see the issues to work upon. Okay, mostly if you, let's say, Quarkus is also an open source project, right? So if you click on this, so you will see, I mean, issue section is here already, like 2.1k, that is 2100 issues are already open here. So in this one, Django, where we are contributing, the issue section is not there, so we'll need to pick the issue from here, from this tickets page. Step number one, just notice the cursor of my mouse. Okay, after reading, after exploring the project, after reading their contribution guideline, once you are here at their at their GitHub repo, you have to click on the fork button here. Okay, what this will do, this will create your own copy of the Django project. So if you see here right now, github.com/Django and then Django, that is, the Django project is right now inside the Django organization. And once you will fork it, so it will be your username, like mine is Soumya Singh. So Soumya Singh and then Django. Okay, and that is, it will create your copy of the project. So let's fork this project. Okay, and create a new fork. And a fork is copy of a repository. It allows you to freely experiment with changes without affecting the original project, and that's what is very important in open source project. Let's say you are contributing to a project which millions of people are already using, so if you'll push your code directly into that project, that will affect all the users, right? If you, let's say, by mistake push some code which is causing crash to the application, crash to the web page, obviously we don't want that, right? Users will go crazy if something like that will happen. So that's why we create a fork that is our own copy of the original project, and then we make some changes there, and once we feel that okay, it's good enough, then we make a pull request which is reviewed by the maintainer of the main open source project, right? Okay, so this is step number one. You have to create your own copy of the open source project. So I will just click on create fork. Okay, and then here are some steps going on internally. They take few seconds to fork it to your profile. So you can see now the URL has changed. I mean, it is written here, this project is forked from Django/Django. So if you go here, this is the original URL which we mostly call as the upstream URL. Okay, and this is your original URL which we mostly call as origin, right? So step number one is clear, you have to fork the open source project. Next thing, step number two is you have to clone it into your local machine, So I will click on copy here, and I will open up terminal. This is my terminal here, and let's increase the size first so that it's visible to you. So you mainly need two things, obviously GH profile, GitHub profile. It's as easy as creating, your IG or Twitter profile. You just need your email. This is basically, you can say, developers profile. Here you have all the record, everything, to which project you are contributing to, or if you are pushing your own project, all the details are available here on GitHub. And next thing is, you need to install Git in your local machine. That's very important. So obviously, I mean, these are prerequisites, and I have already covered all these things in the previous video on this channel itself. You can go and check that out. What are the prerequisites? If you just type install Git, and the first official link you'll get, you just have to download and follow these steps. So I assume you have Git installed in your local machine. And with that being said, what I'll do is, I'll open up the desktop, and here I'll create one folder, mkdir open source. Okay, open source, and I will cd into this directory open source, and inside this open source folder I will clone the project. Okay, so obviously, again, revising, step number 1 is forking the project, and step number 2, we have to clone the project into our local machine. So we have to copy this URL from here. Just click on code, and https is here, just copy it. And after that, this is the second thing, we are cloning the project into our local machine. Git clone, this is the command, and you have to paste it and just press enter. So you can see cloning into Django. It will take few seconds or maybe minute, depending upon your internet speed, your local machines speed, everything. So yes, it's happening. And once this clone will be completed, then what we will do is, we will open the Django project in our IDE, whichever IDE you use, like IntelliJ, Eclipse, whatever. So you have to open the project in your IDE. And then the most important thing is, you have to pick an issue which you want to work to. Like here we don't have issue section here in GitHub, but we have it here. So this is one of the most time consuming things. After exploring the organization, after exploring the project, reading the guidelines, everything, this takes a lot of time. I mean, finding the right issue of your interest. Now, because we have to cover this up, so obviously I can't sit and put filters and go on reading each and every issue. Basically, you have a lot many options here. You can put filter based on your interest. You can choose any issue on your own, right? So let's now see here, the cloning is completed. So I will do cd and Django here. So we are now inside the Django project, which we have just cloned. So here are a few handy commands which are very important, and there is a Git cheat sheet as well, which I will share with you all. You'll find the link of that in the description. It's very handy. Okay, so if I do here Git status, so Git status basically tells you how many files are newly added, or how many files are added but not committed, everything. Basically, it tells you the status of the project. So it's all good now. You don't have anything to commit. And if you have to check the branch name, so git branch. So right now we are on the main branch of the project, right? And another very useful command is, you can note down these commands. You can take your pen and paper and you can note down all these commands, because these are very important actually. And once you will use it very often, then it will be in your mind, like, okay, get a status, get branch, get remote. Basically, it tells you how many URLs are linked with this particular project. And if you have to check the link as well of that particular name, remote name, then -v. So right now only origin is there, that is our original project. So I want to link the main project as well, from where I forked the copy. I mean, this is the original project and I created my copy of the project. So my copy is origin, but I want to link this one as well. This is mostly people give it a name origin. For that, what you can do is git remote. Remote means something which is far away, right? So git remote add, and you have to give name to the URL. We have to give a name to this URL, mostly this URL from where we fork the project is called as upstream. So here we write the name and then paste it. So git remote add name of the URL and the URL itself, and press enter. So now if we do git remote v, so we have two URLs here. Basically origin is here and upstream is also here, right? And now let's do one thing. I will open the project in IntelliJ, okay, and then we'll make some changes, and we'll like try to make pull requests. That will help you understand better. So I will click on open, and then in desktop open whoops, uh, we will go here, desktop open source, and Django is the project which I want to open, right? So this is loading, let it open. And there might be some project which don't need these kind of IDs. Like IntelliJ might be that they use some specific ID. For example, if you are contributing to any project of mobile app, so obviously you'll need to open the project in Android Studio, right? Perfect. So here you have to spend your time, like you have to find the right issue. Feel free to use these filters and everything. Right now what I will do, I'll assume that I've got a good issue to work on. Okay, you can start with documentation. You can put filter like if we go here, there are a lot of options like created, description, easy pickings meaning some very easy kind of issue. You can check this as well. If there are some issue which need test, or let's say I want to see if the issue has some particular keyword. It should contain document keyword. Okay, let's see if there is any issue with that keyword. So okay, there are some issue which have the documentation keyword. I can go on reading these one by one and then picking any of these, but right now we have time constraint for the tutorial, right? So what I'll do is i'll I'll read some of the documentation here. Okay, these are the docs. This is the doc folder, and before going into the documentation directory, before contributing to the documentation directory, make sure you read this as well, because for the documentation as well they had a dedicated page. If you remember, we were on this page, the first one, and then here they said see writing documentation if you are very much inclined to contributing to documentation. So here you should read this if you are getting into the documentation thingy. They have given a lot of rules, regulations, a lot many things are here, right? These are the commonly used terms in their documentation. This is the writing style which you must follow. Like instead of he or she, you should use they, them, theirs, like general gender neutral keywords you should use. So you can read this. So if you are diving deep into documentation or any subcategory for that matter, make sure you read these details as well before making the PR. So it's not compulsory to go through the complete list and everything, but the important ones, that before making the PR they want the contributor to make sure of specific things. So just make sure those checklists are complete, right? Awesome. So now what I'll do is I will make a PR. Okay, I am assuming that I have got the right issue to work upon. Okay, so the third step is fork, clone, and now the third step is you have to create a new branch. Okay, so git branch. Right now only one branch is here. Git checkout -p. Basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a new branch, and at the same time I am checking out to that branch. Like right now I'm on main, so if I'll create a branch named documentation, let's say, so I'll shift to that branch. Okay, this is important because main is the main branch, like name is self explanatory, right? So if we are going to make contribution, it's important that we make a new branch, and from that branch, like, we'll work on that, and then we will make a pull request to request the project maintainer to accept the changes from our branch, let's say documentation branch, to the main branch. I'll draw all these things so it's all clear to you. It might be a bit confusing in the beginning, but it's very easy. I mean, I'll summarize all these steps, don't worry. So git checkout minus b, and I'll name it doc branch, like documentation branch. Okay, so if now you do git branch, so you are now on the doc branch, and there are two branches, main and doc branch. So I will click on the docs directory here. A lot many pages are here: intro, main, many, and how to as well. Like in their on their web page, they have the how to section as well, like how to maybe do this, how to create that thing, specific to Django and web dev. So let's say what I'll do is, I will, maybe for the sake of it, to explain you, I'm making a small change anywhere, like, well, these look perfect, and I'll put a message to the maintainers to ignore this pull request, because I'm making this just to teach you, right? But you have to go into the issues section in the on the tickets page, and you have to find the right issue to work upon, and you have to work on that dedicatedly, and then only do these things, right? So let's maybe go in the initial data. You can go and read as well. Maybe if there are some bugs, you can actually fix it, but right now, I can't go on reading and finding the bugs and everything. So I'll just make a small change here. Okay, this is the small change that I made, but you have to make changes based on the issue. Let's say if your issue asks you to write a documentation for some new feature, so you will create a new txt file, you will write the documentation for the new feature, all those things will be there. So let's say you are done with the code change or documentation change, whatever you wanted to do. After that, the fourth step is you have to again check the status first. So now it is telling me that, hey Soumya, like, this file is modified now. If you want to check what is modified in this, that also can be done. Like, let's just copy it. Okay, one sec. Or maybe just we can simply write git diff and docs how to and initial data.txt. So it is telling me that you made a change in this line, and I can see, like, I just added one extra space here, right? So this way you can track your changes as well, what change you made. So here we are on the fourth step, which is adding all the changes that we made. Or if you want to add all, just write git add dot. If you want to add a specific change, like, I don't want to add my local dot idea file, right? So docs and then how to and initial data.txt. So this will add that particular file into git. All right, after that, next step is we have to commit the changes. Git commit m, this is for writing the message. Okay, if you are making some changes, make sure you write some meaningful messages as well, it's important. Other contributors, other developers who are contributing to the same project will have an idea of what Soumya is working on, right? So here I will write the message, because right now I haven't made any real contribution. This is just for teaching you. So I'm writing this for the project maintainers to kind of ignore this pull request. But let's say you are working on writing documentation for a new feature, so you can write the message that documentation added for xyz feature. Okay, I'll write here demo pr. Okay, this is demo pr, and press enter. Perfect. And now what I'll do is, I will do the final step, which is making the changes available on GitHub. For that we use the push command. Git push name of the remote. So I want to push all these changes to remote first, and from there I will make the pull request. Okay, so git push origin and then the name of the branch, which branch I want to push. So I was working on doc branch, right? Doc something. So I will push that branch only. Let me check. It was doc branch. Doc branch. So perfect. So it is telling me that if you want to create a pull request for doc branch on GitHub, you can do this by visiting this particular URL. So I will open up this URL. Okay, and here you can see open a pull request. This is kind of last step of your open source contribution. I mean, you just have to finalize it. You have to make the pull request. So demo PR is the name of the pull request, and then you can preview your changes, what change you made. We just added a space because I had to teach you, I mean, how to go about it. But make sure you don't just remove spaces or remove commas just for the sake of it. For practice, you can in some random project. Let's say if there is some GitHub repository of your friend, you can try it in that, like the flow, to understand the flow. Or you can try it in one of the projects that I'll share with you. I'll share a link. You can try all these commands there. Okay, and once you are sure that okay, you are good with the knowledge of these commands, you can go and start contributing to the real projects. After that, you just have to click on create pull request. You can write some comment here as well. Let's say if the project admin is, hey, whatever the name of the admin is, I think GH itself suggests the top people who are contributing to it. So you can tag them and say that I have added the documentation for the new feature, please review, or something like that. So I'll create the pull request here, and that's it. I mean, the steps are as simple as it looked. For now, I'll close this. For big projects, they have some tests etc running in background, so I'll close it for now because I don't want the project maintainer to get disturbed because of these demo kind of PRs. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's how you have to go about it. Now let me summarize all these steps for you. So obviously you have to find the right domain for yourself. You have to find the right project from GSoC website. Once all those things are done, the first thing is you have to fork the project, right? This will create your own copy of the original project. And then step number 2 is you have to clone the project into your local machine so that you can open in your favorite IDE, add some code, documentation, whatever you have to do, right? You can make all those changes. And once the change is done, you have to all those changes using the git add command. Add all those changes which you have made in the code, documentation, wherever. You have to add all those changes. Then the next thing is you have to git commit the changes, and you have to write the message like whatever change you are making. If you are working on some button, some feature in the website, in the application, or maybe just adding some design color, you have to give the message so other developers in that particular open source project get an idea that okay, Soumya or you made that contribution, right? And after that, the final step is you have to push all those changes. This is the name of the remote, that is origin, and then the name of the branch on which you were working on. And one more thing here is which is very important. After cloning, when you start working on the issue, so you have to create a new branch as well. Git checkout -b and then name of that particular branch, right? You can name it. If the issue is, let's say, 510, so you can name the branch issue 510. So these are the steps, and once you follow these steps, you will be all set. Like your first pull request, your open source contribution will be there in that particular project. In the part 2, are you ready to contribute to an open source project from GSoC website? We'll pick a new project from GSoC website itself. So let's first visit the GSoC official website. Okay, so this is their official web page, and we'll go on browsing the organizations of 2023. So again, as I showed you in the last tutorials, we have so many categories here, right? And last time we picked one project from the web domain. The project was Django project. It was quite interesting. I mean, the GH repo, that is the GitHub repository of that project, didn't have the issues section, but they have their own dedicated website for the tickets for all the issues that are there for the developers. So this time, now let's try to pick a project from different domain. Usually as beginners, I mean, especially if you are in university, it happens that we just know a programming language and not such, any development skill like machine learning, AI, or how to develop apps or websites. So let's do one thing. I mean, we know that these categories are there, but assume that you only know one programming language, like let's say you only know Java or C++. So in that case, how can you go about it? You just have to type here the language, okay, and it will show you the list of all the organization which have project related to the Java programming language. Like when I wrote Java here, they are showing me this big list here. Like you can go on checking more projects as well. Like we have Jenkins, we have Open MRS, Checkstyle, a lot many projects are here, right? So again, I mean, you can go about exploring these projects. I mean, one by one you can check the way I did in the last tutorial. And if you want to, get started with the contribution, so you have to first check out your open source, contributing guidelines. They would have mentioned all these steps, and then the commands will be same, right? So this time let's try to pick project which is, a bit different from others, like for which we don't use those common IDs, IntelliJ, etc. But there is some dedicated software. For example, if we pick a project of mobile application development, so there we use languages like Java, Kotlin, all of these, and we don't have the simple process like in the last one. We clone the project and we open in IntelliJ, right? So if we'll clone a project which is related to mobile application, so in that case we will not use IntelliJ or common IDs. Let me show you how. Like if I write, let's say, Java, so I think in Java as well we'll get to see some projects which are related to specifically mobile application development. I'll click on all first because right now it was just showing the development tools like Jenkins, etc. So first let's click on all, and now if I write Java, so the list is, you can see, much bigger. I mean, Ceph as well, the future of storage, this is one of the Red Hat's project only. They also use Java a lot. Even JBoss is one of the famous projects, open source project, which use Java heavily. And here you can see Mifo's initiative is also there. So let's try to explore this one this time. I think they have plenty of app related projects. Okay, so I was one of their Google Coding mentors as well, way back in the I guess 2017-18 somewhere. So yes, it was a good experience. I mean, pre-university students were there, and I was mentoring them like how to go about contributing to open source projects. So the Mifo's initiative, end poverty one line of code at a time, this is their slogan. And let me tell you that this organization has many projects under the umbrella, and yes, they are getting shortlisted into this program GSoC since years. I mean, what I have observed, they almost are there every time in every GSoC period. So the Mifo's initiative is here. You can check the idea list of past years as well. And these are the technologies, the topics that this organization heavily focus on. So if you see here, they heavily focus on Android, Java, Kotlin, Spring, Angular. All these are the technologies in which they work into. These are the topics that they are heavily specialized, like cloud, AI, fintech, financial inclusion, mobile banking. So I remember, like, they have a project which is about mobile banking applications, sort of. And let's say if you are interested in a bit of finance, plus you want to make mobile application, you want to contribute to mobile application, this would be a good project for you. So if you are into developing application, Kotlin, Java, all these things, I would say you can go about exploring this without any doubt. So yes, here are, you can see multiple options. In the last project, in the last tutorial, we only had two options, like we had chat and I guess one blog option was there, but this time we have multiple options provided here, because this organization would have shared their Twitter, email, everything, like whatever the organization shares, we see all those things here. And this is your website. Before contributing, before starting your open source journey, I highly recommend that you go and check out the product of the organization. It's very, very important. Like mifos.org, this is their web page, the one true open platform for, you know uh, this is their slogan, like one open platform for ending poverty. This is what they focus a lot on, and they organize their yearly and kind of monthly such sort of community events as well. This is a picture from their event only. It's a good organization. I mean, what I have experienced and what my mates also have experienced after contributing to this organization, it's a good one. It is an extended platform for delivering the complete range of financial services needed for an effective financial inclusion solution. And this is a flexible platform. Global community is there. Their mission is product success, mission success, deployment success. So let me tell you one more interesting thing. Like you now know that okay, they are heavily focusing on Java, Kotlin, mobile application development, and if you are very much into this domain, you can obviously get into this. I mean, you can start exploring the issues, you can start finding the right pick for yourself. Maybe just start with documentation, testing some, less difficult sort of issues, and then you can get involved in the community more. If you read the GSoC page of theirs, they have mentioned somewhere that you should have at least one pull request with this organization, with their project, and you are kind of eligible to apply to put proposals for their projects for GSoC. All right, so I think we did enough of research of this organization. We now know that it's kind of a good one, and let's close this tab now. And you very well know, I mean, after checking the product, after checking the website or the application, the next thing that we mainly want to do is we want to check the contributors page. I mean, how can we go about contributing to that particular product or that particular project. So this contribution guideline, this contributor guidelines is specifically for GSoC. Let me also highlight one thing here, that many students just run after the tag like a GSoC or any such program for that matter. But don't do this. I mean, let me tell you the truth here. If you are good in any particular skill, if you are good in any particular domain, maybe web, ML, app, anything for that matter, if you have a decent knowledge, if your fundamentals are strong in any particular programming language, then trust me, I mean, it will be very easy for you to go and start the journey, because you already have the core knowledge, right? It's just that you should know the steps to contribute, and which I have so many times explained to you. We have summarized it as well. What are the commands? There are 5 steps mainly which you have to follow. So yes, let's check this as well. This is the application template which they have provided. This application template is there if you want to get into the GSoC program. So first, again, focus on knowledge, start your journey, make contributions, make pull requests. And the people who are here in the open source communities, they are literally very helpful. I mean, if you are in the IT sector, if you want to become, let's say, software engineer, so might be that in that particular open source project, people from different companies are also contributing, because open source, it's open for everyone, like people from all ages, people from different companies, everyone is there, right? So let's say if you need referral in any company in future, so you can ask them for that as well, because you both have worked in the same organization, in the same open source project, and somewhere that, connections there, they already know that okay, your work is good, you are making pull request, if they are reviewing it, that bond will be there, right? They would be already knowing that okay, XYZ person, Soumya, is a good software engineer, she has written code in this particular project, so indeed, I mean, she is a good fit for this role, so they can refer as well. So we often hear this thing, right, that your network is your net worth, and this is literally very true in the open source world, because you will see people from different countries, different companies, and they can help you excel in your career, right? So this is a template which is available on the Mefo's official website. They have given this if you are going to apply in their, GSoC organization, like when they are shortlisted, you can follow this particular template. So these are the questions which they are asking you to include, like which project idea you want to work into. You have to briefly cover everything, like what feature you want to add, what ideas are there in your mind, and yes, why are you the right person for this project. So here, if you have already contributed to this project, for example, I mean, apart from GSoC period as well, if you have made some contribution, it will indeed help you in getting more advantages compared to other candidates who have not done any contribution, right? So if in college they are asking the current area of study as well, these are basically the questions which they are expecting you to include in your GSoC proposal. Okay, and for GSoC proposal, I already have shared link on this channel itself. If you want like more examples of GSoC proposals, how they are, and you want to get idea, let us know in the comments and we'll share again if you need. So yes, have you deployed and run the Apache FinTrack platform? These are the questions that they're asking to get an understanding of whether you have done contribution to their project or not. So this one, Apache FinRect as well as OpenMF, this is basically their organization ID only. OpenMF community app. This is one of their projects, one of their application. So yes, this is specifically for GSoC. Now, if we want to explore, if we want to first deep dive into how the projects are, so obviously I have told you many times now, you have to go to their communication channel. So they are doing all the discussions about the project, about the issues, everything on Slack. So once you will join Slack, their channel, you will see different topics, subtopics around the project. For now, I am not I mean, you can go if you are interested in contributing to this project, go and join their Slack, read the discussions. That will help you understand what other developers are doing and how you can go about it. Okay, so this is again their mailing list. If we click on this, so yes, here again, I mean, mailing list or communication channel is the same. They have kind of Slack as the main point of communication, and they have shared the link of some of their like social media handles as well here. So what I'll do, also here are some projects which were there in the last years. So Abhinav Sinha, like contributor in the last iteration, contributed for FinRect modularization, and then Mefo's mobile 6.0 mobile banking app. So Abhishek Gururani, he contributed to the mobile banking app, which is one of their projects. Okay, so if you go in the view project details, so you'll get a complete idea of how and what features he worked on. These are good things. I mean, when you will read this, you will get a good understanding, a thorough understanding of what a candidate is exactly supposed to do when he or she is shortlisted in GSoC, right? So now the next thing is, you already would be knowing, I will now, like I have read everything. I have checked the product, I have read basics of their contributor guideline, everything I have almost checked. I didn't join the communication channel. You can if you're interested. And now I will check GitHub profile, like GitHub page of this organization. Okay, so I'll write here GitHub Mefos, and yes, this is the page, Mefo's initiative. If we click on this, So here you can see they have multiple pinned projects here. So the community app is there, which is written in HTML, and I think this is exactly what we see on their website, the main website. I mean, we opened mifos.org, right? So here is that project. Then Android client is there. It is purely written in Kotlin, as you can see. Mobile wallet is written in Java. Mifos mobile, a lot many projects are here. So let's do one thing. Let's open either of these projects, Android client or Mifos mobile, and let's open it in our local machine. Now this project is specifically for mobile, right? I mean, they have used these tags here. Android application, they are using Dagger, they are using retrofit. If you remember in the tutorial on this channel itself where I taught about APIs, so I explained in detail what retrofit, what OKHTTP is. These are very important when we talk about getting data from an API. Let's say you are going to make a shopping application, right? And you want to show some data like clothes, all those things, right? So, there obviously you must know how to fetch data from an API, and that is where these third party libraries like Retrofit or OKHTTP play a very, very significant role, right? So this is the project. Here you can see Mifos mobile Android application. These are the screenshot of the application. So once you will use the application in your phone, if you install it in your emulator, you will run it. Might happen that you feel like, okay, this new feature can also be developed, can also be added to this application. Or maybe if you feel like there is some bug, there is some error which needs fix, you can create an issue for that as well. And interestingly, in this project we have the issue section provided here. So let me now teach you some tips and tricks of this as well. So if you are a complete beginner, I highly recommend go to the label section, okay? And you can see here a lot of tags are available, right? Labels are available like documentation, duplicate, epic, and so on. These are for GCI as well, Google Code in. And here you can see there are some good first issues as well. As a beginner, you can click on good first issue tag, and these are the good first issue which they have created, like toast message in case of wrong credentials, or update the target SDK version, and make sure you check the date as well. I mean, when the issue was created. These are some very easy issues which you can pick to work on. Or maybe once we'll install the application in our machine, like in our phone or maybe emulator, then we'll have a better understanding of how the project is, how the application is, and then we'll take it from there. So yes, I think now you should be able to tell me the steps. So tell me step number one. I mean, you can go and write in the comment section as well. What 5 steps do we follow to contribute to the project? So because I am very much interested into mobile applications, so I literally like these kind of projects like which use Java, Kotlin, all these things. I can relate more to these, right? So if you are also into this, I would say that you can start contributing. And the project maintainers, admins are all good. They are very friendly. They even have their kind of weekly sync up calls, all those stuff as well. I mean, where you can get updates of everything if they are going to apply for the next year GSoC and all those things. So the very first thing is we will fork this project, right? So obviously, I mean, I'm not going to explain again what fork mean. You can go and check out the last tutorial where I have explained in detail. So we will create our own copy of this project by clicking on the fork button. So here we'll create fork. Before that, I'll choose the organization, I mean, where I want this to be created. So as you can see, I mean, in this like Soumya once saying, in this ID I already have the Mifos mobile fork available, right? So what I can do is, I mean, if I change here, instead of open MF, which is their organization ID. If I write mine, because this one is already available, as I told you, like I was mentor as well way back many years ago. So I have already created a fork of this. What I'll do, I'll sync this fork so that everything is up to date. All right. So successfully fetched and fast forwarded from upstream OpenMF development branch. Let me tell you, this is kind of a new feature here on GH. I mean, when we used to heavily do open source contribution, we didn't have the sync fork and all these features, but it's very interesting now. I mean, we used to do git fetch and then git pull from upstream, right? But this is very like developer friendly, literally. So if you go on the actual project here, my Force Mobile, and let's see what all branches they have. So cool, development branch is the default one. So many of the projects have main or master branch as the default. They have development. So this is the fogged copy, right? Now what I will do is I will clone this project into my local machine, and for that you should have git installed in your local machine, right? So this is the terminal. Open up terminal. I'll increase the size so it's visible to you. I hope this is readable. All right. So here I'll cd into that particular directory which I created in the last tutorial. Okay. So cd desktop, and we had the open source directory. So inside this I will say git clone, and I'll just paste the URL of the project. So it is cloning into Mefos mobile, as you can see. While it's doing this, let's read the readme.md file of this project. That will help us understand everything, like what the project is, how they are doing everything. So you can see this is the status tag. They have the master branch, development branch. This is the chat section. I mean, they have their chat, everything, where they discuss the project on GitHub. Okay. So how to contribute, they have written everything here in detail. It's an open source project, and we would be happy to see new contributors. I mean, obviously every open source project want that more developers come to them, they contribute to them. So the issues should be raised via the GitHub issue tracker that is here. I mean, in the original project, this one. So if you want to raise some issue, you can click on issue section. Then you have to click on new issues, and if you feel like there is a bug in the application which you can fix, or there is something, let's say new feature which should be added to the project, you can add all those details here. And here is a checklist. I mean, if you are reporting a bug, you should provide the steps to reproduce the bug, or you should add screenshots, videos, everything here, right? So yes, I mean, that's how you can create a new issue if you feel like there is some new feature or some bug crash going on in the project. So they have some branch policies as well. And before that, they have given some guidelines like commit style guidelines, which we can check from here. And this is pull request guideline. If we are going to make pull request, then we must read this before making the pull request, before making the PR. So yes, they are saying that fork the project, we have done that. Then they ask us to create the feature branch. I already told you in the last tutorial, it's very important to create your own branch. There are like further a lot many steps, a lot many guidelines which you must read if you are willing to contribute to this particular project. All right. So now the clone is done. I will cd into Mefos mobile. Okay. Now that we have a copy of this project into our local machine, what I will do is, and this is related to Android. I mean, this is not a normal sort of project, right? So I will open up Android Studio. For opening this project, you will need Android Studio, because this is specifically related to Java and Kotlin, right? Perfect. And now I will click on open in Android Studio. And if we go here in desktop, we have open source and Mefos mobile. Let's open this one. So we'll say trust project, and once it's here, so you can run this project as well in your IDE, whichever IDE you are using. Like for Android, we have this Android Studio. In the same way, if you have, let's say, project dedicated to some other domain, then might be that you have to use a different IDE, right? So here you can see this is the readme file of the project. And because this is an open source project which already so many people are using, and usually like mobile application projects are a bit heavy, so Gradle builds a lot many background processes happen. So if you open a big project in your Android Studio, might be that it will take like 2-3 minutes or maybe longer to download everything, to do Gradle builds in the background. But I would say don't give up, because many times I have seen beginners when they fork and clone um, big project in their local machine, they sometimes get frustrated. I mean, why is it taking so much time? It's completely fine, because if they are some huge projects to which already thousands of hundreds of developers are contributing, there are so many files, there are so many pieces of code written, so obviously it is supposed to take time, right? So here you can see, I mean, the sections are similar to any other open source Android project. Like you can see we have manifest file where we have all the permissions, where we have the name of the project, all those details. We have Java folder inside which we have the actual source code, like all the piece of code written in Java and Kotlin, everything is here. So they have divided it into some subcategories, like API related code is all here. And you can see like they are also using OK HTTP, and they have used like retrofit as well, which I already taught you in one of the last tutorials, right? We have model classes which are also called Pojo classes. So everything is almost same. This is the folder, rest directory, in which we have designs and all those stuff. If we go here, you can see they have XML, they have the design of the mobile application. It is initializing, it is loading. It's because it's taking time, obviously, because it's a heavy project, right? So I mean, for me as well, it took around like 3 to 4 minutes to completely download the entire project. So yes, now let's go here and let me explain you one more important thing. If you are doing open source contribution, like we already know the 5 to 6 commands, the GitHub commands which we have to use. Apart from that, sometimes it happens that we have to, let's say, rebase, or we have some merge conflicts. So merge conflicts is one of the tough thing in open source, because sometimes, let's say, you are writing code and other developers are making contribution, they are making their PRs, they are adding code into the project. Might happen that there are differences in your code and theirs code, and merge conflict might happen. So for such scenarios, if you are experiencing something, if you want to use a command, use Stack Overflow. I mean, whatever doubt you might have for some advanced Git commands, everything like is already available in the developer community. If you ask, they are in the Slack channel, Gitter channel of the particular organization or Stack Overflow, you will indeed get the answer. Like, let's say if you want to understand how the git rebase command works, how git rebase works, so you will get detailed tutorial here. Like we have the official tutorial as well. It is here from Atlassian. You can read these tutorials, and they're well explained as well. You can get all the ideas from here, like how the advanced commands work. So I mean, this tutorial was to help you explain, apart from simple plain projects, if there are projects which are a bit complicated, a bit hard, then that also you can do in the same way. Like first thing we did fork, git fork, then we did clone, git clone here, and we are into the MIFO's mobile directory. Now if let's say you want to work on issue number 501, so the first thing you have to do is create a new branch, then you will work on that issue, you will add your code, design, whatever you have to do, then add, commit and push. For the detailed commands, you can check out the last tutorial. I have explained there in detail. I hope this detailed tutorial was helpful for you. If yes, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Scalar's YouTube channel. If you have any doubts or queries, feel free to drop them in the comment section below and I will be happy to answer them.